Okay. Welcome everyone. So I just finished watching the post-game shows and the game, and I probably should wait till tomorrow to do this. I'm really proud of the team. It's awakened a passion in me that I had as a little kid and all the way through college, and until my body got too old to play anymore, and just the emotions and the work ethic and everything that comes from being an athlete, especially at a high level. And it was heartbreaking. I wanted them to win. I wanted them to win this one. I didn't think they'd win the series, but God, they got so close. They got so close. But you could see it happen in the fourth quarter. Right at the beginning of the fourth quarter, that Minnesota just went boom, 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 and they had it under 10 points. It was like, okay, come on. Just as long as you just make some hoops, you can stay with them. Just, okay, they score. You got to score. And we didn't. We didn't. There were shots that were just like layups, and we missed them. And then we couldn't get a second chance rebound. Right in the beginning of the fourth, Minnesota got like 3 chances. We just couldn't get the rebound from them. But that's why they're the number one team. There's no shame in losing to the number one team, but boy, I wanted to get one from them. Just one. Anyway, I watched the post game from both coaches, both the players, and it was interesting because Minnesota had McBuckets and Fee in their post game, and they were asked, and McBuckets was like, "Boy, they play hard," and they expressed how difficult it was for them, but the bottom line is, fourth quarter, they made their shots and we didn't. And that's how they won. We just needed to make a few more shots. And they were makeable shots. We just didn't get them. And that's been, in the games that we've lost, this is the reason for it. When we needed a hoop, we couldn't get it. But to take Minnesota all the way down to, 1 point in a playoff game, I don't know. It's just, it's been, this team has just been such it's the epitome of the underdog. All the 6 players that were brought in from the expansion draft, and just how they progressed over the year, and they're just like, I don't know how many videos I did where it was just like, oh, just one more basket. And that could be said about this game. One more basket, we win. If Zandalicini hits that last shot, we win. That's how close it was to the number one team. So, it's funny, the players, I'm watching the players and I got tears in my eyes, and I got tears in my eyes like, oh no, it's over. Maybe it's just, I have 62 years of experience, and all those kind of experiences that it brings back, that, you in your own athletic career, where you get close, and it's like that pain that you feel when you don't make it. And I have certainly experienced that. But, the players were like, well, da 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 da. I mean, Salon corrected a guy, and if you watch the post game, she was just like, well, don't say that about, because it had something to do with, oh, well, you guys don't have any stars. Like, well, who defines a star? Maybe there are a bunch of stars in waiting. And she may very well be one of them. So, Anyway, this is the last game. This will be the last game of the season, and I'm going to keep covering the rest of the playoffs. And I'll be glad because my emotions will be out of it for the rest of the way. But, I was surprised to see Temi not in the lineup. I mean, she was there in sweats, so something must have happened to her. Would it have made a difference? Maybe, maybe not. That's an unknown. But, now I'm like, okay, Minnesota better darn well take the whole thing, because if you're going to lose, you want to lose to the eventual champion. So I'm going to look at the stats. I haven't looked at anything. All I know is we just were not making our shots in the fourth quarter, and that allowed them to come back in the game. That's the gist of it. We played well for 3 quarters, and then it's not that we didn't play well in the fourth quarter. We were still playing really good defense. I mean, that last possession that Minnesota had, we got it was a 24-second clock. And you can debate whether, maybe we should have fouled, sent them to the foul line, because they were missing foul shots. And that would have given us more time but what if they make both of them? Then you're down 3. Then you're forced into a 3. And with Minnesota's defense, that would have been just as tough. So, was it the right call? Maybe, maybe not. We had a chance. We had, 4 seconds, but then they fouled. And then we had 2.8 seconds to get a shot off. And Xander Lassini got a decent shot off. It wasn't like it was a bad shot. It's too bad we couldn't have just thrown one up by the rim, but I don't know. I mean, 2.8 seconds is enough. I mean, she had 3 or 4 dribbles and still got a shot off. So she got a good look. A whole different thing if she makes the shot. So let's have a look. I'm just going to briefly go into the stats. I'm not going to make a big, because it's after midnight here. And anyway, let me look at the stats. So the final score, 75-74. And they outscored us in the fourth quarter 26-11. We outscored them in the first 27-19, in the second 14-19. It would have been better if we could have been in the 20s in that quarter and built a bigger lead. Because, keeping it at 12, 13 points, the Minnesota can come back from that. And they did. Third quarter, we outscored them 22-21. And then, of course, the fourth quarter was 26-11. And they get the win. So, let's see. Turnovers were even, 12-12. We actually got more points off turnovers than they did, 20-14. Let's see here. What is it? So rebounding was even, assists were dead even, steals, blocks, all of that stuff was all even, which explains the score. But they outshot us. We outshot them from 3. We were 50% from 3. But overall field goal shooting, they outshot us 46-43. But they only shot 28.6% from 3. And that's the difference in the game being a 1-point game versus them winning by more. We had more points in the paint than them, 30-24. Let's see. Collier shot 62% from the floor. And that's why she's, an MVP candidate. And I think she's the MVP. I mean, I understand the reasons for Asia Wilson. She's had a great second half. But without her being injured, she's had a very consistent, really good season, like all around. She does so many things well. And, when her team needed her, man, she took over. She really did. They only shot 50% from the line. So maybe it would have been a good idea to foul them right there in the last during their last possession. So, let's see here. So Minnesota had 4 players in double figures. Carlton had 12. She hurt us right there in the third quarter. She was the one. She was the one hitting three. She was 4 for 6. Thea was 10 for 16 overall. She had 24 points, 7 rebounds. Smith only had 2 points. McBride had 18. She was 8 for 13. She had 3 assists, 2 steals, 4 rebounds. Courtney Williams had 6 points. We held Courtney Williams and Heidemann, because Heidemann killed us the last couple of games, but she didn't hurt us so much this time. But she only took 2 threes and missed them both. That was the big difference. They did not shoot well from 3, and we had 11 of them. They had 8, so we did good there. Free throws weren't a big deal. I mean, we made 7 for 9. They made 5 for 10. Rebounding was 28 to 29. So we also had 4 players in double figures. Salon had 14. Xander Lassini had 14. Burton had 13. And Monique Billings had 15. So Billings was our leading scorer. She was 7 for 12. Rupert had 8 points. We had 4 players that shot 50% from 3. Actually 5. Kate Martin was 1 for 2. Burton was 3 for 6. Rupert was 2 for 4. Xana Lassini was 2 for 4. And Salon was 2 for 4. So, but we didn't take a lot of them this game. We only took 22. And we've usually been in the 30s on that. So I don't know if that's good or bad. I mean, we took the champs to, 3 seconds left. So that can't be a bad thing. Anyway, it's been really a joy to cover the Valkyries this year, and it's been a really exciting season, and I just wish we could have got one, just one. And we came close. But it still is just brutal. Just brutal. But, you have to, tip your hat to Minnesota. They're a really good team. And I doubt anybody's going to beat them. I mean, the Aces might beat them. And after watching the New York game before this one, I don't know if New York with Stewie. Stewie's definitely hurt. I don't even know if they're going to, I would have thought, New York got the first game. They're going to beat Phoenix, but who knows now? With Stewie hurt, New York looked very flat-footed and bad defensively. They were really bad defensively in this game. But who knows? Friday, maybe a whole different story. So, anyway, we have games coming up tomorrow. The third game of the series between Indiana and Atlanta. And then the other game between Seattle and the Aces. Boy, would this be crazy if those games were upsets? If Seattle knocked the Aces out and Indiana knocks Atlanta out? I don't know if those are going to happen, but boy, what if that happens? The apple cart will get very tipped over. But, if that happens, I don't see anybody beating Minnesota. Because I think the only one that really has a chance is the Aces. But I could be wrong. There have been a couple teams that have given Minnesota some problems with just the matchups. So we'll see. Anyways, it's been a joy of a season to cover the Valkyries. I'm sorry it's over. But, a lot to look forward to in the upcoming season. And we'll see what the CBA turns out. And then the 2 expansion teams, what's going to happen with them. I'm really concerned whether we have the same players next year. Because nobody's under contract for... I don't think... They said... I was reading somewhere that there's 3 players in the entire WNBA are under contract. So, we could have a totally different team. I hope not. I hope we have like a core group. But there's no saying that the players from France will come back. Who knows if they'll even come back and play? I would hope so. I would hope it's been a great experience for them and that they'll come back and play. But it could be totally different next year. Who knows what kind of free agents we're going to get in. But, it's a sad night, but a very happy season. Wish it could have just been a little better. Just a little better. But then I would have wanted more. Who am I kidding? Anyway, thank you everybody that has watched the channel. If you haven't subscribed, appreciate it if you could do that. And we'll see you for the rest of the playoffs. Okay. Have a good night.